Hi, I'm Mikaela, and this is Love Mikaela, a podcast where I talk about literally anything and everything I want to. Today, I'm going to be talking about another drama, but this time it is not a K drama. It is a Japanese drama, so a J drama, called Cinderellas of Midsummer. Got my notes here, that's what I'm looking at. And I'm gonna be so honest. I don't talk about K drama. I talk about K dramas a lot. I don't talk about J dramas, Japanese dramas, very much because I love them, but I don't necessarily think they're like top of like the media and top of like the stuff that I'm watching. Like, it's not that I wouldn't recommend a lot of the dramas I watch that are Japanese dramas. It's just that they don't feel as. Mm, I don't mean this in a bad way. I am Japanese, so they don't feel as advanced, I guess, in terms of storytelling and acting, especially. I find acting in Japanese dramas tend to be a lot more stiff. And it's just a cultural thing. Like, it's not that it's bad, it's just more stiff, and that personally isn't my style. And, um, and I just prefer the acting in K dramas. I find it a little bit more grounded, even though the emotions are so heightened. Whereas in Japanese dramas, it feels a little bit more stiff. I feel like the emotions don't tend to go as high and as low as they do in K dramas. It's just a personal preference, really. It's not that it's bad, some of it is bad. But, it's a personal preference. But this drama really caught me off guard, so I wanted to talk about it. And I also just haven't watched as many Japanese dramas as I have Korean dramas just because there aren't as many out there on the platforms that I watch um, dramas on. And so uh, a lot of the Japanese dramas that I have seen that are available are like older ones. So, of course, the quality isn't going to be as top notch as like Korean dramas are coming out. They're like cranking them out. And so a lot of the Japanese dramas that I see are way older in comparison to the Korean dramas I'm watching. But there are some really good classic Korean dramas. So, it's a personal preference thing. But this one was really, really good. Um, this show had a really chill vibe. It came out during the summertime. I'm just talking about it now because I'm finally getting around to it. I had to like write out some notes for it, and that took me a while. So that's what I did. Um, but I really loved that it was a very chill drama. I also waited until the very end of summer to watch it because I think it came out beginning or middle of summer, but I wanted to be able to binge watch it if that's what I wanted. I'm so spoiled now with all like the streaming services. I don't like waiting for shows to come out. I'm like, ugh, I hate it. I hate it. It works better now because I work, so I have like a schedule I have to follow, but like during the summer especially, I was like, I don't want to wait to watch this. I want to watch it when I want to watch it. So I would wait until, and I still do that for a lot of shows, but I'll wait until the whole show is out and then I will watch it. And then in the meantime, I'll binge watch something that's like older that's already out. This drama had a really light, summery vibe. It was very similar to if you've ever seen the Korean drama Summer Strike, where it still has this narrative going, but it just feels like kind of casual, like a casual watch. Not something you'd put on in the background because you still want to follow the story, but it's just like, I don't know. It's like it's that chill summer vibe. Like it encapsulated that feeling perfectly, and I really loved that. Summer Strike is not a chill summer vibe. It is, but the story there's like a murder mystery that happens in that story. So it's very different. But just like that kind of summery chill vibe I found was very similar in my opinion. Sometimes you just want to watch a drama that is relaxing and you don't want to be on the edge of your seat all the time really really stressed. And sometimes you do want that, but sometimes you don't. And so this is a good palate cleanser if that's what you're looking for, something kind of chill, relaxing to just kind of watch. I really loved the dynamic between the three main girls. Their friendship was so cute. I don't know if the actors are friends in real life or if they spent time together before that. I don't know the story behind that. I didn't look into that, but they just seemed to get along. Like, their chemistry on screen was incredible. And they do, this is not a spoiler, and they do a little handshake that they made up that I think it's literally in like the first episode or like the first like 10 minutes or so, and it's so cute. And like, I did watch a couple, like one or two, like literally a couple of behind the scenes videos, and they were just doing that handshake when the camera wasn't on, just like to practice it, but it looked like it was so fun, so I really, really loved that. And then also it follows 3 different storylines. There's definitely a main like A storyline, and then there's like a B and a C storyline kind of happening. And I really loved the storyline that follows the character who's a single mother. I loved it so much, almost to the point that there were times where I was like, can I skip ahead to see what's happening in her story and then come back to the regular story? Like, I almost liked that more than the main, like, A storyline, which is kind of crazy, but it was good. It was really good. So, summary of the show. Not summary, synopsis? Explanation of the show. Whatever, I'm gonna read it. So this show is about a paddleboard instructor. Her name is Natsumi, which, no, I'm not gonna say what I thought. I think I know what it means in Japanese, but I'm not gonna say it just because I don't want to mess it up. This paddleboard instructor Natsumi lives in a small seaside town, and she also helps run a cafe that her family owns in that town. She's not super interested in anything besides just doing her work, keeping her friends and her family happy, and she has this long-time crush on her childhood best friend, but he doesn't really seem to be interested in her. She and her 2 best friends, which is the friends I talked about with the handshake, get invited to this party with these 3 guys who are vacationing in their small town from Tokyo. And coincidentally, they'd also had paddleboarding lessons from Natsumi the morning, like earlier that day. And the show follows a romance that kind of blooms between Natsumi, the paddleboard instructor, and one of the guys from Tokyo. The show follows a romance that blooms between Natsumi and one of the guys that she had instructed earlier in the day from Tokyo. And it becomes a bit more complicated when her childhood friend kind of gets involved. There's a little bit of a love triangle. It's gonna happen. I don't really think that's a spoiler. That happens in most dramas that you see nowadays, especially if it's a romance one. And then we also get to see some romances form between the other 2 girls, our B and our C stories. And yeah, it's just like a really chill show, and it was fun to watch. Some things that I liked about the show, the acting actually felt very grounded and very real, which I don't feel like I see often in Japanese dramas. There's definitely dramas that I haven't watched that I've been meaning to, like Alice in Borderland, I think is what it's called. Like some of the more heavy, intense, like gorier ones, I just haven't gotten around to watching them yet because this is a light rom-com-y summer friendship vibe. Very different from that show. So I'm sure that there are plenty of amazing Japanese dramas that I just haven't seen yet, but in terms of the ones that I have seen, which I still love some of these dramas where the acting just isn't as grounded. But this one, it felt really, really grounded, even though it was like a simpler drama with a more chill vibe. There were definitely moments of like intense emotion, but they didn't feel overacted. I tend to find that in a lot of Japanese dramas, when they do go to those intense emotions, it's very like overdone and over the top, and it doesn't feel grounded for me. But in this drama, those moments felt very grounded and very real for me, so I was very surprised. Like the acting was really, really good. I really can't remember any specific moments. I don't even have any written down here. Where it felt like too much acting versus real life. But the acting overall, like, truly is some of the best that I've seen in one of the more realistic Japanese dramas. I think later on, I haven't written notes for this yet, so I'm gonna have to rewatch it and then write notes about it and then film it. There's a movie that I believe is still, hopefully it's still, because I need to rewatch it if I'm going to do a podcast on it. It's more comedic and more fantastical drama, not drama, it's a film, on Netflix, if it's still available on there. I don't know if it's still going to be, and it's called like Red Riding Hood, something. It's about like a Red Riding Hood character, and that is very overacted, very overdramatic, very overdone, but it's like kind of like not, I guess, cheesy and kind of campy, like in that way, like it's done on purpose, and that is so well done. Like that being overacted, like it's meant to be, but this kind of drama where it's kind of more slice of life and more realistic needs to be grounded, and I find sometimes they're not, but this one was. I was very, very happy and very satisfied with the acting that was going on in this drama. Like it was a really nice surprise. I also really loved the chemistry between every single romantic couple that happens in this. I don't know if this is a spoiler. Sorry if it is. Um every single girl. So there's 3 storylines, right? We have our main A storyline and then a B and a C storyline. There's 3 girls who are friends, so our storylines follow each of the girls and their romances that happen during the summer. The show is called Cinderellas of Midsummer, so you're gonna expect some rom-com moments and that kind of thing happening. Each girl gets a love triangle. Every single girl, there's 3. Each of the 3 girls gets a love triangle. So there's 2 guys for each girl. Every single romantic relationship that's happening in the show, the chemistry between the actors is really good. And I think that is such a feat. And like, we need to give applause to the casting directors because they did really well in casting this show. Like, that's a lot of people to make sure that they have not just chemistry but romantic chemistry with each other, and the girls' friendship, like, they had pretty good chemistry with each other. And then the 3 guys who come from Tokyo are also friends. Their dynamic is a little more complicated than the girls, and so the chemistry is a little bit different, but it worked. Like, I wouldn't say that they're like as close as the girls are, but I don't think their characters were supposed to be anyway. So it still works in the way that it needed to. Like, the casting for this was very well done in terms of chemistry between actors. I was very, very, very impressed by that. And then not just casting, but like the cast, the actors themselves have to, like, unless they were all friends before this, like, I don't know, but I doubt it. But you have to work to build that kind of chemistry into being able to like have that come across on camera. And so kudos to them as well. Like, that's a really important part of it, but not something that always gets built into shows. And so they did a really good job on that. So like, I thought that was really, really nicely done. And then there's a little boy who's cast. There is one of the characters, I'll talk about her a little bit later, but she's a single mother, and so she has a little boy, a son. And the little boy, the actor for that, like, he was really good. A lot of, like, my mom was watching a Japanese film literally yesterday, and I came in and was watching it kind of midway, and there's some child actors in it, and sometimes it's hit or miss with kids, and one of the kids was pretty good, and then the other girl was like, like, you can, like, if I can feel and see you acting, it's not good acting in my opinion. Not that it's bad, it's just, it's not the best that it could be, right? I mean, they're kids. This little boy was really good, and I am excited I didn't write his name down. I should have. No, I tried to find his name and I couldn't find it. So hopefully I can find it now. I'd really love to follow his career and see where he goes, just because he was good. He was really, really good. So it's exciting to see if he continues. Some kids don't. Some kids who are child actors, they just do it as kids and then they don't continue it. But if he does continue it, it would be really fun to see like where he goes from here and like how much he grows, because he was a really good actor. Like, he had some very intense emotional moments and they were very grounded, very real. He stayed very connected to the other actor in the scene. Like, he did a really good job. So it'll be exciting to see where he goes if he decides to stick with this. Okay, this is the section. I know I didn't get that far into it. I'm really hoping to I'm really trying to keep these videos shorter than they have been. I don't like making them an hour long. I mean, I'm sure it's really nice to keep on in the background, but for some people, everyone's got shorter attention spans nowadays, including myself. And I have to sit here and edit the whole thing. I'm editing peaks and cutting things out that need to be cut out and cutting out dead air. And I have to subtitle it after I edit it, so that's another good chunk of my time. So the longer the video is, the longer the editing and the subtitling takes. So, I mean, for videos, Spotify, you don't get subtitles. Sorry. If you want the subtitles, you gotta go to YouTube. I don't know what to tell you. But it takes a good chunk of time. So I'm trying to keep this short. So I know that section without spoilers wasn't great. I'll come back to no spoilers. It'll be marked in the YouTube description, and I will try to, in the description of the podcast on Spotify, I'll try to include that there, as I have been doing when I do shows. I'll do my best, okay? I'm trying. But ahead are spoilers. This is your final warning. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. If you are planning to watch this show, it was a really good show, especially for if you're trying to dip your toes into a Japanese drama and you want something chill. I know it's the middle of winter at this point. We're almost to Christmas, so not really the vibe. But if you want to, I miss summer a little bit, or later on you're going to watch this, just stop listening. This is spoilers. If you don't care, though, keep listening. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Last warning. Okay. The single mom, her name is Risa, which is Risa. Risa. I'm going to say it. It'll switch back and forth, whatever. I felt that her character was punished in comparison to the other two girls in terms of the romance aspect. So the other two girls are A story, and we'll just say the other girls are B story, like our storylines. Our main girl, she had a happy ending in her romantic interest. I mean, the whole show is mostly focused on their romance. There is some, obviously, it's on their friendship as well, but mostly it's focused on the romance for the girls. The two other girls got very successful romantic endings, like they had happy endings. But our other character, Lisa, did not get a happy ending in terms of her romance. She didn't end up with any love interest by the end. The other two girls, one of them, it ends up the way that you think it will, and then the other one, it went a different direction, but was still a happy ending, right? She didn't get a happy ending. And I don't mind one of the girls not having a fulfilled romantic, and like I don't mind one of them not working out, because I think it would be boring if all three worked out, to be honest, as much as I love happy endings, because we got three separate storylines. I mean, they intertwine, obviously, but because we got three separate storylines with three different girls, it would be kind of boring if all of them ended up completely happy. Um it adds some contrast if one of them is different, right? I felt personally that it was unfortunate that the character who was a single mom, that Lisa's character, is the one who ended up with the unhappy ending, because it felt like she was singled out. In my opinion, this is all just my opinion, it felt like she was singled out simply because she was the character that was a single mom. Because I feel culturally it's still, I mean, it's frowned upon in a lot of cultures, to be honest, but culturally, especially in Asian countries, East Asian countries, and especially Japan, I feel that that is very frowned upon, because in the show, like, it's not like she was widowed, she's divorced. And then towards the end, the ex-husband wants to get back together. But she just doesn't love him the same way anymore. But then she has this whole dilemma, because she's like, her son wants his dad back, but the dad lives in Tokyo and she wants to stay in the town she grew up in, and it feels safer to her, and her son has a life there with his own friends and his schooling and all of that. And so she has the struggle of, do I get back with him, but I don't love him like that anymore. It's not that they like hate each other, it's just that they don't love each other, and or she at least doesn't love him in that way anymore. I think it's hinted at that they have a messy divorce, like he did something, I don't know if he cheated, he might have, I don't remember, but something happened, and so then they had to divorce, and then now she's just kind of over him, but he's like, wait, no, I liked what we had. It's like a whole thing, and I feel like it felt pointed that she was the one character that didn't get her happy ending, because she was the single mom. And I think it's like a cultural thing, like she's frowned. I don't know, this is all speculation, but in my opinion and what I know about Japanese culture, I feel like it was a little bit like, well, of course the single mom didn't get the happy ending, you know what I mean? And of course I understand that, like, realistically she has to sacrifice for her son. Like, as a parent, that is what you would probably do, is sacrifice for your son. But like, it's not like the father didn't even want to be present in the son's life in the beginning of the show, and then as time went on through the show, you see that he wants to be more present in his son's life, and that's fine. Like, the son can go visit or spend, like, people will do, like, I mean, I'm sure it's not the best, but people I know who have parents who divorced when they were younger would spend like half their time at one parent's house and half their time at the other, and travel in between, you know. And I'm sure that that's not the best, but like the father's working during the week, and so like the mom would send the son on weekends. The son would go and visit his father in Tokyo and spend the weekend and the father's time off with the son, which that totally makes sense to me. Or the father would come and visit. And I think it's also because I live in the United States, where travel is like kind of a given. Like, my sister came and visited for Thanksgiving this past week. Like, she literally just left maybe an hour ago. And her drive is 3 hours, but she'll also make that drive on like a long weekend to come and visit us, and that's nothing. Whereas I'm thinking of like in Tokyo, traveling from Tokyo to like one of the coastal regions of Japan, like it's probably about the same amount of time, but for them it's like it's this big thing. And it's not just Japan, like a lot of other countries that are much smaller compared to the United States, it's like, oh yeah, like that's a really long trip, like oh my gosh, they live so far away. It's like, no, you don't. Like, you're like you like we'll travel to go visit. We haven't in a long time, so I guess that says something. But we would travel to go visit our family up north, and that's like a 5-hour drive, and we would do that for like a long weekend and then come home. So traveling doesn't seem like an issue for me. But anyway, that's kind of a tangent. But I just felt like the sacrifice she made didn't it wasn't proportionate to what she needed to do in order to provide for her son what her son wanted, which was his dad back in his life. Like it's a simple solution, but instead she fully gave up on her own love life and her own, like, she falls in love with another man, and she gives up on him completely and is like, maybe in the very far future when my son is older I would be able to pursue this, but not right now. And he was little, like he was in like grade school. So I understand like maybe being like, we can't focus on it. But the guy lived in the same town as, like, it's not like she'd be traveling to go see him. He did at the end of the show get an offer to go to a faraway like job, but I mean, I didn't look it up, so maybe the travel time would be farther from Tokyo. But if it wasn't farther from Tokyo, like, I feel like I'm like, does that make a difference? Like, you guys can still be together. And he also was like, I would turn the job down to be with you if you said you wanted to be with me. And then she did it. And I was like, this doesn't make it just didn't make sense to me. And I might be biased because that was the storyline that I wanted to follow the most. I loved the chemistry between the two. I thought that they just, I don't know, there was like a spark between them that really played well on camera. And I also just thought he was the cutest of all of the guys that were love interests in the show. So maybe that also had something to do with it. So maybe I'm biased, but I really, really like, I loved them, and I was really sad that they didn't end up together. Like, I would truly watch a drama fully focused on them. And if that's the reason that we didn't get a happy ending, is because the creators of the show are like, well, we might come back to this later and make them their own show. Like, I don't know how much other people liked them, but they were my favorite couple to watch. So if that's the case, fine, no happy ending. But if it's not the case, which I'm pretty sure it's not the case, it's very disappointing that the single mother is the only one who ended up without the happy ending, just because I feel like culturally there's some undertones to that, unfortunately. And so that was something that I didn't like very much about the drama. And I also felt that the drama was a bit rushed towards the end. It was, I don't know if there's a typical, like a standard amount for Japanese dramas. Korean dramas, the standard set is usually 16 episodes. Sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's a little less, a little over, but generally dramas are in a 16 episode format. Each episode is usually an hour long. If you do a half-hour episode, it's usually like the one that I've watched, Extraordinary You, that's a 32 episode arc. Each episode is only a half hour, so it's actually kind of like a 16 episode arc if they were 1 hour, which is typical. I don't know if that made any sense to anyone. Hopefully it did. I don't know if Japanese dramas have a standard set like that. This one was 12 episodes. I think they could have, was it 12 or 14? I think they could have gotten away. If it was 12, they should have done 14. And if it was 14, they should have done 16, because they could have gotten away with 2 more episodes. Each episode was about 45 minutes to an hour long. It needed another 2 episodes to fully get through the story without rushing it. I felt like they rushed it at the end. Or was it 10 episodes? Either way, it needed 2 extra episodes. They rushed it at the end. And if they had had 2 more episodes, I don't think it would have been a problem. It felt very rushed. And it definitely dragged in some parts. It was slow in certain parts, and there were parts where I would notice that I would kind of get a little bit bored and want to go on my phone for a little bit. Part of that's an attention span me thing, and part of that is some of it was kind of dragging a little bit. So maybe if they had sped some of those parts up and slowed down more at the end, it would have been fine with the amount of episodes they had. And, episodes can, like, it's not like they fully have control over that all the time. Sometimes it's a budget thing. But I think they could have not dragged out certain parts and then sped up some other parts. But I also don't know if they were filming as they went along and, put the episodes out. I don't know how it worked. So maybe they didn't have that luxury of the hindsight. But it definitely felt some parts dragged, but the ending felt very, very rushed. And I was like, oh, and now they're happy. Okay. Like, it just felt like, whoa, 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 whoa. Everything's happening too fast towards the end. And I don't mind episodes being rushed as long as it still feels satisfying, but this one felt rushed in an unsatisfying way for me personally. And so that was really unfortunate, because, like, it made me kind of knock off some points for this show because it was a good show. It's just like the ending felt way too rushed. I felt like we were jumping, like we were skipping parts of the timeline that I was like, whoa, no, wait, I wanted to explore that a little bit more actually. But otherwise, it was a pretty good drama in my opinion. The acting was good. The story was compelling. Like it was still interesting to watch, but it was done in a way that was chill, and so I didn't feel stressed while I was watching it. It was like a really nice like a palate cleanser from like the previous dramas I'd been watching that were really stressing me out. I was like, I need something chill. So if you need something chill, if you're missing that summery feeling, and you like romance and comedy, this is a good one for you. Aside from the ending being a little bit rushed, it was good. Okay, I'm not gonna do any more spoilers now, so I'm not gonna do any more spoilers now. You're safe. No more spoilers. Okay. I loved exploring the different romances, the different people in the romances, and they were all kind of different. I'm not gonna go into it too much because it's non-spoiler territory. The different types of romances that were happening. There was one that was a very stereotypical love triangle, and then the other two were very different. And I thought that that was really fun to watch and explore because I don't know if I've ever seen a show explore that many relationships in that way, at least a Japanese drama. I don't think I've ever seen one explore relationships like that. So that was really fun to watch. It was also just a very easy watch. It was like chill. It was fun. It was relaxing. The acting was good, and I really, really loved that. I also really liked this idea that the main character Natsumi has in the show, which is her whole thing, her whole goal in her life was to keep a small circle of people around her and to keep that circle of people happy. And she emphasized that that was just her lifelong goal. Was specifically, she said, her lifelong goal was to keep those within the 3 meter span of herself happy. And I thought that was really sweet and didn't sound like an unrealistic goal. And it sounds like a good way to live your life. So 3 meter span, like just kind of meant like the people who are close to her and around her. She just wants to make sure that those people are happy. Did she do so at her own expense sometimes? Yes. Yes, she did. But you watch as the show goes on, she kind of grows and realizes how to navigate that in a way that also does it, that also keeps herself happy. And she seems to be really happy in her life, which was kind of really nice. But yeah, the 3 meter span basically just means like your immediate family or whoever you consider your close family, and then like your friends, like just your small circle. If you can keep those people within a 3 meter span of you happy, you'll be living a good life. And at least the way it was portrayed in the show, it seemed to be true. And I think like just thinking about that objectively, I feel like that would probably be true. If the people around you are happy, then you're probably going to be happy too. Like it kind of, the vibes spread. Um, Overall, I think it was a really nice summer watch, especially if you need like a chill vibe and a little light romance. Again, like the romance was definitely the main point of it, but it didn't felt like spoon fed to you really. Like it was definitely like, it's not that it was a background thing, but like they also explored so much of the friendship aspect, and there was some family dynamics going on that were explored too. So it didn't feel like it was like only romance. Like, so if you're not like super into romance but you don't mind it, I think it would still be a nice watch. Um Again, it's set in the summer, so if you're right now in a winter vibe and that's all you want to be exploring right now, maybe not the show for you to watch right now. Maybe one to explore once spring hits, I think, and you're starting to itch for the summertime. It would be a good watch for then. But it was still a really, really good show. And if you are into the summer vibe or you don't mind it being a seasonal difference, then maybe check it out. Maybe if you're tired of the cold and you want to watch something that looks warm, that's a good one to watch. Their little town that they're in, it's a beachside town. And so that's a really fun vibe. And I'm someone who've kind of always like I would even, when I read a lot of books that were set in like seaside towns, and I was like, oh, I wish I could do that. Like it would be like they go away for the summer and they go live in their like little summer vacation home in the seaside town and like live their life. And I've always wondered like, oh, I wonder what that would be like. I feel like it would be kind of fun to do. Um, but I never got to do that. So I will live vicariously through my books and through this drama, apparently. Um, I don't know if it's a drama I will be going back to, like when I would like to rewatch again. Summer Strike, the Korean drama that I talked about at the beginning of this episode, is definitely one that I will be going back to at some point. Maybe I'll even do a review on it. I don't know. That it was just incredible. But I think it has the added aspect of like a murder mystery kind of going on, and that adds to it for me. This one was like not as substance heavy. Like, it's definitely a light watch, but it was still very fun and a very easy watch, and I've still very much enjoyed it. I just don't know if it's one that I'm itching to go back to. I kind of feel like, okay, the story was told and it's done. If they do a sequel and they follow the storyline of the couple that I loved the most, then yes, I would go and watch that. But rewatching this one, I don't know. But that doesn't mean it's not worth the first watch. It was definitely worth the first watch. I didn't feel like I wasted my time watching it. Um, I think it's an easy way to watch people of two different backgrounds fall in love. That's a very common trope. People from two very different backgrounds who don't have too much in common then find some sort of common ground or find a comfort in each other, and that connects them in some way, right? That's a very, very common stereotype, a common trope that happens across multiple genres, not just romance. I think it's an easy way to watch that, and it's an entertaining and fun way to watch it as well. So if that's something that you're into, check out this drama. I also just loved watching the three girls navigate their own dating lives while also still supporting each other and seeing that friendship. And also it's a friendship between I don't know if I'm considered a young adults who are in my age range, like their 20s. They're early to mid 20s, is I would say the age range of the girls. I don't see a lot of dramas that follow people in that age range, personally. I feel like a lot of dramas nowadays are college, or high school, like younger, and then there's a lot of dramas where it's adults who like in their like mid to late 30s, like adults, um, with kids and families. I feel like that middle ground kind of isn't as explored as much as it used to be. I think it was very, very common before. Um, and also these are young adults who are like it's like they've just recently gotten out of college, that kind of age range. I don't find that a lot of dramas follow that age range, and so that was really nice and refreshing to see. And then the friendship aspect is just like, it's just such a pure friendship, and it was just so fun to watch. There wasn't drama between the girls over the guys. There wasn't a ton of fights between the girls. The like, I don't even know if there was a fight between the girls, to be honest. If there was one, it was based on a different issue that didn't involve romance, which I don't find very common in a lot of dramas. So that was really refreshing to watch as well. It was a fun watch. It was really fun and easy to watch. And it was interesting and entertaining. And the three plot lines were all fun to watch on their own. Obviously, I loved one more than the other two, but it's not that the other two were bad. I just loved that one the most. They were all fun to watch on their own. And then it was also fun to see how they kind of intertwined and overlapped in a way that wasn't girls fighting over boys. And they fit together really well, so it made the drama easy to watch overall. I didn't feel like something was out of place, in terms of the storylines. Like, I didn't feel like I was forced to watch something and I was like, this doesn't fit here. It all fit together really well, even though they were able to stand alone on their own as well. If I had to take something that I learned from this drama, I would say what I learned was that just having the goal of keeping the people close to you happy as well as keeping yourself happy, if that's like your only goal in life and you let that kind of propel you and move you through life, I don't think it's a bad way to live. I think it's a pretty chill and pretty reasonable way to live, and it's not like making everyone happy all the time and everyone has to be happy 100% all the time, happy, like this big overarching goal like that. It doesn't have to be this big thing that seems kind of like scary and intimidating. It can just be little happinesses that you help the people around you find along the way. I think that's a nice way to live. It doesn't seem like a bad way to live, and it seems like pretty satisfying, and that it can lead you to like a really fulfilling life. And I think that as long as you're making keeping yourself happy your number one priority, keeping those around you in your 3 meter span happy doesn't seem to be too daunting of a task, and also seems to lead to a pretty fulfilling life. It's a drama, so maybe it's not true, But I just feel like thinking about it, it kind of makes sense that that would be a good way and an easy kind of chill way to live. And making other people happy doesn't need to be a monetary thing. I mean, does money help? Yes. But it doesn't need to be a monetary thing. It can just be a simple, hey, hello, every once in a while. Making people happy, especially the people that you really, really care about and that are close to you and around you a lot, I think is an important thing to keep in mind. And if it's your one goal in life is to keep those around you decently happy or at least satisfied with their life, I don't think that's a bad way to live. I think it's a nice chill way to live. And if you watch the drama, you'll kind of see how that propels the main character's decisions and how she lives her life, and then seeing her then realizing, oh, I've been centering everyone else and not myself in my own life. But I can center myself in my life while also keeping the other people around me happy. I don't have to sacrifice one for the other in a big way. Sometimes you'll make little sacrifices, but in a big way, you don't, it like they can be cohesive and work together and cohabitate those ideas. And I thought that that was really nice and really lovely. So, if you're looking for a chill watch with some good acting, some really good chemistry, and an entertaining but not stressful storyline, I would say definitely check out Cinderellas of Midsummer. I watched it on Viki. There's probably other places you can watch it as well. That's just where I watched it, but it's a good watch. It's worth the time that it takes to watch it. It's not a super long drama. But yeah, I would say check it out if you're interested. But yeah, thank you for listening to my little review of this show. Definitely am under my time that I wanted to be, so that's good. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, night, whatever it is for you. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Love, Mikaela. Bye.